Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the most up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. We're going to get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are moving higher this morning, with S&P futures up 0.45%, Dow futures up 0.54%, and NASDAQ futures up 0.35%. Markets are continuing to see gains from earnings optimism that's pushing global stocks back towards all-time highs despite mixed economic data and concern about the Delta variant. Shares of Twitter have climbed more than 5% in pre-market after showing strong earnings, which also buoyed shares of Facebook and Alphabet. Meanwhile, Intel slipped as supply constraints overshadowed impressive earnings results. The dollar has strengthened marginally against most major peers, putting it on track for a second straight weekly gain, and the 10-year Treasury yield has ticked higher. Over in Europe, the Stoxx 600 index moved into a fourth day of gains, with all industry sectors again in the green. Data this morning showed Europe's post-lockdown economic surge strengthened in July, but businesses warned of shortages of raw materials, delivery delays, and rising costs. Over in Asia, Japan's market was shut for a holiday, and Hong Kong's stock slid lower as potential penalties for ride-hailing company Didi Global dispersed sentiment toward Chinese tech firms. Regulators are still considering harsh and perhaps unprecedented penalties for Didi's after Didi's controversial IPO last month. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
Well, Shane, I've been watching the S&Ps. I'm watching the S&Ps all morning long. I look at them right now, and they are trending higher, which is nice. They've been steadily climbing all day. Why? Because, these stocks like Snap and Twitter, they came out with nice, strong earnings reports. The markets like that. We're embracing it. These things are helping to boost up Facebook and some of the other big, heavily weighted caps in the S&P 500. So, yeah, it's a positive morning. And, overall, the earnings season has been, pretty well. The threat of an economic pullback due to the Delta virus or Delta variant, it's really diminished. It's still there, but it's not focused on the mind of traders. You look at the companies that have reported, of the 110 companies in the S&P 500 that have already reported results, 85 have topped their estimates. That's positive. I did see, there's inflation concern here. You got to worry about the inflation in some of these earnings reports. You got to look at to see if they could be impacted. That's going to affect the guidance, not the actual earnings, but the guidance is what's going to really make or break a stock off of earnings. But that's what I'm looking for. Everything looks good. I look at, Europe, it's all positive across the board. I look at, the Asian markets. Yeah, Japan's closed for that 2-day holiday. It's closed again today for the second day in a row. You look at Hong Kong, it did slide, but it's sliding because of, new regulations that are going on in China. People are worried about the new regulations, and they're worried about, the virus spike that's going on over in Asia. But that's not affecting us here in the U.S. because we're in earnings mode, and earnings are good. So it's going to be a good day today, Shane.
Well, let's talk about earnings. Again, lots of stuff coming out. Bill, tell us about it.
Well, let's talk about what happened last night. Intel, ticker INTC, they beat by 2 cents on higher revenue. You look at the stock; it's actually trading off this morning. Snap, this is the big one. Ticker SNAP, Sam Nancy Apple Paul, they beat by 11 cents on higher revenue. The stock's up 17% this morning. You and I were discussing this one yesterday. I look at Twitter. Twitter beat by 13 cents on higher revenue. You look at shares of Twitter, they're up 4.61% in the pre-market. VeriSign missed by a penny, and they did it on lower revenue. That's not good. That's why the stock's down this morning. Ticker CE, Charlie Edward, they beat by 77 cents on higher revenue. You look at the stock, it's up 3.24% this morning. Robert Half International, that's ticker RHI, Richard Henry India, they beat by 28 cents, and they did it on higher revenue. You look at the stock this morning, and it's up 4.29%. Skechers, that's ticker SKX, Sam Kilo X-Ray, they beat by 39 cents on higher revenue. You look at the stock, it's up 7.24% this morning. And then you look at the stocks that came out this morning. Honeywell, they beat by 8 cents on higher revenue. American Express, they beat by $1.22 on higher revenue. Kimberly-Clark, the put volumes were going crazy in front of their earnings report. And sure enough, they came in with a big miss. They missed by 27 cents, and they actually lowered their guidance for the next quarter. Schlumberger, that's ticker SLB, Sam Larry Boyd, they beat by 4 cents on higher revenue. You look at Schlumberger, and it's trading up this morning. So, it's up 2.29% in the pre-market. So, there was a lot of good earnings that came out last night and this morning, Shane.
How about insights as far as upcoming earning announcements?
Let's take a look at Lockheed Martin. That's ticker LMT, Larry Michael Tom. Their earnings estimate is for $6.53, and we're looking for a move at 2.6% when they release on Monday morning. Also releasing Monday morning is Checkpoint Software Technology. This is ticker CHKP, Charlie Henry Kilo Paul. The earnings estimate here is $1.56. The expected move is 11%. Hasbro, ticker HAS, Henry Apple Sam, the toy manufacturer. EPS estimate is 47 cents. The expected move here is 6.4%. And then we get the afternoon, which is led off by Tesla. TSLA, Tom, Sam, Larry, Apple. The EPS estimate is for 96 cents. The expected move here is 7.65%. That's like $49, okay? That's a big move coming. PKG, Package of America, Paul, Kilo Grace. Their earnings estimate is for $1.77. The expected move here is 6.27. And J&J Snack Foods, that's ticker JJSF, John, Sam, Frank. The earnings estimate here is for $1.05, $1.05. Expected move here is 7.62%. A little cautious on this one, but that's what I'm seeing for earnings that are upcoming, Shane.
Taking a look at economic reports, Bill, tell us what we're seeing as far as reports today.
Hey, I love a day when you have, a lot of good economic reports. Today's, we don't have a lot, but we have a key one. We have the PMI Composite Flash report that's due out at 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. That's going to be a widely watched report. And at 1:30, you have the Baker Hughes rig count, which is going to show you if they're increasing or decreasing the number of wells that they're out there searching for energy on. And lately, it has been increasing. So keep an eye on the Baker Hughes rig count. It can affect energy prices. That's coming out at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time today.
Moving into our morning's critical insights, starting things out with one on AstraZeneca, ticker AZN. The company has received approval from the FDA for use of Bydureon, its diabetic treatment, in treating type 2 diabetes patients aged 10 years and older in the U.S. AstraZeneca's share price is up 0.24% in pre-market. Other news on AstraZeneca, the company's COVID vaccine has been said to be highly effective against COVID and the Delta variant after just one dose, according to results from the Canadian Immunization Research Network. Acquisition news on Taboola, ticker TBLA. The company has acquired Connexity from Symphony Technology Group for $800 million. Taboola's share price is up 4.78% in pre-market. News on Tesla, ticker TSLA. Tesla has put deliveries of the new Model S on hold. So customers have been complaining, and it's unclear as to why this is happening. But buyers have been informed by Tesla that their vehicles have arrived at the local delivery center, but they still can't take them. One customer who posted about his experience online said that he was told there are new inspection standards in place, and that's why deliveries are on hold. Also to note, Tesla has recently delivered another price increase by hiking the prices for the base versions of both the Model S and Model X units by $5,000. The price hike came just weeks after Tesla finally started delivering new Model S units in June. Tesla share price is down 0.73% in pre-market. News on Pfizer, ticker PFE, and BioNTech, ticker BNTX. The companies announced that the U.S. government has purchased an additional 200 million doses of their COVID-19 vaccine, with deliveries expected between October 2021 and April 2022. Elsewhere on the tape, Alzheimer's Neuro, ticker ALZN, has jumped 50% in pre-market to $8.62 after positive toxicology results for its Alzheimer's treatment. Some SPAC merger news. Buyer's Edge Platform, a provider of software and analytics to food service firms, is discussing to go public through a merger with Spencer Rascoff's Supernova Partners acquisition company, ticker SNIII. Over in China, the country is considering asking companies that offer tutoring on the school curriculum to go nonprofit, according to sources. The platforms will likely no longer be allowed to raise capital or go public, and listed firms will also probably no longer be allowed to invest in or acquire education firms teaching school subjects. Foreign capital will also be barred from the sector. Shares of New Oriental Education, ticker EDU, shares of TAL Education, ticker TAL, and Gato Tech Edu, ticker GOTU, have all plunged overnight following the report. News on Walgreens Boots Alliance, ticker WBA. The company has announced plans to open New Village Medical at Walgreens practices in Indiana. The strategic partnership is on track to meet its overall goal of opening at least 600 Village Medical at Walgreens in more than 30 U.S. markets over the next 4 years. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
Shane, I break my news alerts down to specific segments. I'm looking for specific industries. I'm looking for specific events. And that just helps me actually, move on very quickly from reading the story to execution. So, I'm looking at the FANG sector as I do every morning, and, it's active. I mean, you look at Snap this morning with that earnings report. Snap shares are really leading the pack in the pre-market. They're jumping 17% after that revenue more than doubled in the second quarter. And the user growth rate is the most in 4 years. It just seems that the usage of that app is really becoming more sticky, and people are spending more time outside of their homes on this app. It's really a big benefit to the FANG sector today. You look at Facebook and Pinterest, they're climbing in sympathy. We'll be following the strong results from Twitter and Snap, last night. I look at shares of Tesla, ticker TSLA, Tom, Sam, Larry, Apple. The company has written to the India ministers, and they're seeking a big reduction on import duties on electric vehicles. They're saying, hey, this is a move will actually boost demand and generate revenue for the government. Okay, we'll see how it generates revenue for the government. You look at Apple, Bank of America came out, and they're expecting Apple services to growth to only be moderate after a strong June quarter. So that's kind of interesting. But when they come out with that new iPhone, sales are going to be skyrocketing for Apple. Amazon and Walmart, an Indian court had dismissed appeals by both companies that sought to stall the antitrust investigation into their business practices. I look over at my Dow Jones 30 alert, Intel. They released, they beat by 2 cents, but, the momentum just isn't there because we do have a chip shortage, and it's not boding well for, companies like Intel. And the CEO of Intel actually said the chip shortage that is creating the supply disruption is likely to last into 2023. Not good news for the short-term shares of Intel. You look at Pfizer, ticker PFE, Paul Frank Edward, a report came out saying that there's a longer gap between COVID-19 vaccines actually produces more antibodies. So instead of like a 4-week or 8-week, 10-week is best. JP Morgan Chase, that's the ticker JPM, John Paul Mary. The company's executive said yesterday that they're planning on hiring more than 500 financial advisors in the next 5 to 7 years. I'm looking over the option sector this morning, and I'm really looking for earnings. AMD, the options are kind of flat going into the results from Intel last night. You look at Google, ticker GOG. The option implied volatility was flat yesterday. And you're going to see it spike today. Facebook. They had low IV going into Snap and Twitter's earnings. So you look at shares of Facebook this morning, and they're up significantly. Facebook really jumped this morning and is currently trading up 3% or $10 and $10.50. You look for catalyst events this morning, Deutsche Bank, ticker LYG, Larry Yellow Grace. This is Lloyd's Banking was named a short-term investment idea at Deutsche Bank. Interesting, not a trading idea, but a short-term investment idea for ticker LYG, Larry Yellow Grace. And in terms of events today, VMware, I see that VMware is going to be having a Investors Day today. That's going to be starting at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. But that's really what I have for, the hot news that's hitting the tape this morning, Shane.
Let's go ahead and talk about our Trade Talk picks for today. I'm picking AstraZeneca, ticker AZN. And this is just off the positive news we've seen after they've received approval from the FDA for its type 2 diabetes treatment in patients 10 and older. They're already seeing positive sentiment, 0.24% higher in pre-market, and they've got good COVID-19 results that came in from Canada, being strongly effective against the Delta variant. I believe it said over 80 to 90% in the reduction of hospitalization and deaths. So it's a strong number, and that's a hot topic. Is what we're up against as far as COVID lately. So it's good news for them. And I think that this could be something that moves a bit higher today. So that's my pick. What's your pick looking like, Bill?
I'm going with Checkpoint Software. That's ticker CHKP. Charlie, Henry, Kilo, Paul. Earnings are due out Monday morning, and this one is priced for a 5.9% move. So that's positive. You're looking at what has been said on it. I know that Deutsche Bank just recently, 2 days ago, they called this one a catalyst call buy idea. The CEO in the last quarter, he came out and he said that the cyber threat landscape is reaching new levels of risk and requires a holistic security architecture to prevent the next cyber pandemic. Those are strong words, but you'll think about all these hacking incidences, that's going to be positive for the company. So yeah, I think CHKP is going to be delivering a good report. I do think it's going to be, trading higher today. I want to get it around the 120 mark. I mean, I think that, the bid offer right now is $10 wide, 119 to 128. I think I might be able to pick some up at 120. If I can do that, I'll be happy. But I think my pick for today is CHKP, Charlie, Henry, Kilo, Paul.
Moving into what's hot off the press, the news that's hitting the tape as we speak, moving the stocks today. Let's get into it. Bill, looking at our headlines, which are the ones we should be talking about?
Boeing, ticker BA, Morgan Stanley highlights Boeing. They're calling the stock attractive after that recent pullback.
Oh, some not great news for Pfizer. Israel says Pfizer, ticker PFE, its vaccine is only 39% effective against preventing Delta variant infection.
See, Morgan Stanley raised their price target on Snap, ticker SNAP, to 85 from 75.
Apollo Global, ticker APO, is acquiring new home company, ticker NWHM, for $9 per share. It's about a $338 million total transaction.
Let's talk about the makeup industry. Target, Estee Lauder, Ulta Beauty. Estee Lauder, according to Oppenheimer, Estee Lauder may actually see increases in department store exposure from this Ulta Beauty and Target tie-up. Ticker BBBY, boy, yellow. This is Bed Bath & Beyond. Their new refurbished flagship store in New York City reopens today. American Airlines, U.S. Airlines earnings are brightened by the uptick in business travel.
Magna, ticker MGA, is acquiring Veoneer, ticker VNE, for $31.25 per share.
See, William Blair's coming out saying that Under Armour, ticker UA, under Apple, is likely to beat second quarter expectations ahead of a tough second half of the year. Just want to talk about shares of Taco. They released earnings last night. Didn't go well for them. One of the things that they said in their earnings report was inflation. Inflation is going to cut into their margin pressure. So you want to think about inflation. Fast food companies, when they're reporting earnings next week, they could be biting into their guidance figures.
It's kind of just a short headline. P.F. Chang's, a restaurant chain, is said to be planning an IPO.
Microsoft's getting more price target raises.
Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing right now, Shane.
Same here. So that's what's hot off the press. Traders, keep in mind you can receive the same breaking stories we do simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out. Get a free trial today. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Thursday. I had Honeywell, ticker HON, which opened at $232.71 and went up to as high as $234.10 for a 0.59% gain before closing barely above the open at $232.74. So there was a moment to make 0.60% on the day. So it was okay. How did yours end up doing, Bill?
Well, yeah, I did okay. I did Skechers, which is ticker SKX, yesterday, and if you look at what happened there, it really was a marvel. Stock opened up at $50.74, and during the day, it actually ran to a high of $51.65, which is a nice gain. And it did close above 51, closed at 51.21. But the real key was this was an earnings report, and these guys released really strong earnings. And you see that the stock is jumping this morning. It's trading $55 in the pre-market. So you look at shares of Skechers, and you have to be impressed with that because it's up. It's up 4.9% this morning. So it's a big. It was up higher to 55. So it was a nice beat.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk with Traders. You know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.